Okay, I had a question come in on the Further Emergence Discord. What's that? Well, if you want to get onto that, just get in touch and I'll send you a link. The person says, "Hi John, any life hack to be consciously productive? I tried the 15-minute meditation every hour and a half on a day that I was very, very busy and it was great. How did your growth in consciousness affect your daily work and activities? Are you more productive, in inverted commas, than before, or less productive? I know it's a weird word, productivity, but I mean efficient or active. Because do you even want to produce and be productive? Or what would that mean for you? I thought that maybe you have more tips/thoughts on it." Well, I think this is my level of my productivity. Things scribbled on a piece of paper. Nice paper, but still paper. Because I tried lots of different things over the years, you know, all the to-do lists and the timers and all the different things, and very little of it worked for me. The things that kind of worked for me are getting clearer about what it is that is the biggest yes for me. That was very helpful because I've sort of got lots of different talents, so I can do lots of different things, which is great. But it also means that it was very easy for me to get distracted into lots of different things. And you know, I had have an art podcast where I interviewed artists for 10 years, lots and lots of artists, and I think it was through talking to them I realized what it was like. I got a little window into most of the artists I talked to. They could paint all day long, 7 days a week, from morning till evening. Wouldn't bother them at all. They'd love it. I love painting, but I couldn't do it for that. I couldn't do it like that. I loved making the art podcast, but I couldn't do it like that. But what I find is that talking about consciousness, I can do that. That's my biggest yes. I can do that all day long, all night long. It doesn't tire me, and you know, whether it's in one-to-one sessions or making podcasts or writing, it's all circling around the same things. And I did that in lots of other areas. Like when I was painting, my paintings were talking about that. When I made music, my music was about that. When I made little films, it was about that. Everything was around that thing. So I think looking at what your biggest yes is very helpful for streamlining what you're doing. I'm right beside a building site, which is kind of cute for what we're talking about, which is productivity, but that's what the noise is. So that's important. Then the other thing is to surrender. You know, if you live in a conscious life, then you can make plans and you can kind of go, okay, this is what I'm going to do today, but it may not go that way. And if you're very rigid about your plans and very tight about your plans and very like, what I get done in a day equals how I feel about myself, it's not going to go well. That's a recipe for unhappiness. So, like, I make plans, but I'm also very sensitive to what's happening and where I'm moved to go. You know, like sort of being here in Innsbruck, I kind of go, oh, I think I'll go and see this thing today, and I'll go and see that other thing, whatever. And then I would find myself not doing those things or going, you know, it's like I'd come to a T junction and I'm supposed to go left to go and visit this thing, and I go right, you know. And to be okay with that, because it always works out for me, you know. And in terms of getting things done, like in one way, I'm super productive, you know. Like I produce an hour or sort of half an hour podcast every week. I write a longish kind of piece of writing every week, blog post. I see people for one-to-ones during the week. That takes up like 3 days, blocked out for that. Now I do have help. Someone helps me with the video editing, and they're brilliant. So you could look at what I do and go, wow, you're very productive. But like from the inside, it's all pretty flimsy, you know. Like yesterday, I had planned I was going to shoot some video for this episode of the podcast. But when I woke up, I felt very fragile on the inside, and it wasn't the thing to do. So I just waited, you know, just took care of myself. I made myself a cup of tea and just, you know, I was sensitive to what was going on inside me. And in the end, I got everything that I wanted to do done at the end of the day. But if at the beginning of the day I was like, I've got to get it all done, I've got to get this stuff done, no, that wouldn't have gone well for me. So I think being surrendered to your life in consciousness is very helpful. I mean, that's just if you're interested in consciousness. If you're not, then yeah, push through and just make it and force yourself and do all the things that people do. But you're asking me about consciousness and what I do, and this is what I do. Another thing I do is I set my intention for the day. So I have a rough idea of what I'm going to do, and I sort of express my preference. I focus my preference, and I kind of think about, it's almost like I extend my energy field out into the day, and I travel along it all day, meaning if I have, you know, okay, I'm going to have this meeting with this person, so I'm like, okay, that meeting is going to go really well. It's going to go great for me, it's going to go great for that person. I'm going to be on time, they're going to be on time, it's going to be great. And then if I have to go somewhere, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go, it's going to be really easy, I'm going to arrive in plenty of time, it's going to work out way better than I thought, and so on. Every single thing that I have that I'm going to do that day, at the start of the day, I think about it, think it through, and very consciously express my preference for how I'd like that to go. That helps. I find that helps a lot. I have a tendency to try and pack a lot into a day. Like that's I lean towards doing that. So I have found that simplifying and kind of going, yeah, if I get these 5 things done, brilliant. I'm not going to try and sneak some other things in there because it just makes me tired, and it takes away from the satisfaction of getting the things done that I want to get done. So keeping it simple and not loading the day with too many things, I do that. I do use that thing of Einstein time, meaning if I have something going on and I kind of go, that's a bit tight, you know, that's a lot, then I consciously, when I'm setting my intention for how that's going to go, I'm like, I'm going to have plenty of time. There's going to be plenty of time to do that, even though on paper there isn't. But it's like I'm kind of using that thing of, you know, when you're bored, time expands, and when you're having a great time, time contracts. That relativity of time, I kind of use that and go, yeah, it's gonna go great, and I'm gonna have plenty of time. Particularly if I think I'm not, then I consciously do that. Yeah. But I think the main thing is to be responsive, you know, like if some little new gizmo or gadget comes along, or a little app or something that seems like a good thing, I'll try it. I'll give it a go. At the moment, I don't use anything like that. I used to have very long to-do lists. I found them very demoralizing, and I never got to the end of them. Whereas now I just have a few little things, you know, they're more reminders than anything else of like what is important, because I'll be in the middle of doing something, I'll go, oh, I must do that, and then I'll just write it down so that I don't forget. And I find writing things down is better for me. I mean, I used to have it all in computers. I love computers. I use them all the time. But I find just writing little lists, have a little notebook, or even scraps of paper, you know, just that I leave around, and I like crossing them off. It's not very efficient. I mean, it's, you know, because there's some things that carry over, but it kind of works for me. So I think that thing of being responsive and having the priority right of conscious life first, and then everything flows from that, makes it a lot easier.